Frozen penis and key lime pie. This is the focus group.
They're all business, except when they're not. It's the focus group with Tim Bennett and John Nash.
Of a racy tease, but I guess what do they call that, John? A thirst trap or something? To get people to click on it?
Like an Instagram. Click, 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 click. It's a thirst trap.
It refers to, so we do a little tease in the beginning. This is the focus group. Hello, everybody. And one of John's stories involves some unfortunate event at the Olympics, which John will get into and caught my eye. And then, of course, we've got our friends from Deep Discount, and we've got some shop talk, which this week is going to include John and Bob's trip down to beautiful Delaware. Coastal Delaware. And so we'll fill you in on some things. That's where key lime pie came into, but it was really key lime ice cream.
Oh, my
that Kate
God,
made for you.
Is all I'm going to say. We'll save the review of the key lime ice cream for later, but...
And then I think our Fort Worth listeners send us some...
Oreos.
Oreos.
We had an Oreo taste test as well. We had apple cider. We had...
like a hazelnut?
Hazelnut, yeah, which I called a Nutella Oreo. And we had two other flavors.
Caramel.
We were not...
And
one was...
caramel. It was like a...
Caramel. Yeah. And the last one was like a mocha or a cappuccino one. You know, the interesting thing is we tasted each one at least twice. And I'd say that the hazelnut was my favorite because it was sort of like having a Nutella.
Right.
The other ones were not as memorable, though. Do you agree?
They were very artificial. I guess they tasted artificial to me.
You had to think
and
about
I almost
that
thought, I think we had talked about this before, and thank you to the listener in Fort Worth who sent us the cookies. We do appreciate it, and we had fun tasting them. Unfortunately, we're not in the studio. We can't do it with the boys. But, you know, I think they've jumped the shark a little bit. Oreos, they've come out with so many darn flavors. I went to the store, and they have a couple of other flavors beyond what we just tried. And it's almost lost its cachet now, because you had finally said at one point, you're like, what's wrong with just a regular Oreo? I remember so, and I think you're right. You know, if they did a special one each season or something, it'd have a little more cachet to it. But but to do so many is kind of rough. So it's so here we are. Yeah. So John, you got to visit us, and we're going to talk about that, as I said, the second half of the show, and. To find out all about us and find out about our podcast, which is TFG Unbuttoned, head over to focusgroupradio.com, and you'll find us there, along with our sponsors. So also click on our sponsor logos are there and support them as well, because they support us. So, Mr. Nash, yesterday you brought this up, was 2/22/22.
For Unbuttoned, yeah.
And so they said, "Oh, it's the best day of the decade." So it's over with. Decade's done.
If you wanted to play Powerball, you're missing your opportunity. I'll tell you that, right?
Yeah, they said a lot of people were getting married on 2/22/22.
2/22/22. Okay.
They said
Well,
it would
if
be
you,
not easy to forget, right?
You know, that reminds me of when my niece Emma was planning before they had to do a house thing, and they had to delay their wedding, obviously because of the event. But her and her fiance were thinking, I forget the date. It was October, like 10/10/20. Oh, there you go. That's why the wedding was delayed. It was 10/10/20. The event came crashing through the barriers, right?
Is your niece getting married still?
It's been on hold for a while. But in the meantime, they finished their house. They adopted a new dog named Otis. They have Chili, Louie, and Otis. They're all different breeds, and Chili's the oldest. I think he's 13.
Chili? How did that name come about?
I don't know. That was the first dog
funny.
they got, and the puppy is going to be like a white lab, I think. Adorable. And Louie's the younger one, and Louie plays with Otis the puppy, but Chili kind of avoids the whole thing. She sent me videos of the dogs, and Chili will sniff the puppy, then walk away like, you're too much energy for me. Don't dogs do that?
Yeah, well, my dog Trixie was very independent. She was very good that way. Whereas Spike, as you saw this weekend, wants lots of attention.
Oh, Spike is a riot, and yeah, he knows us. So there's this. You hear this little guy below you, and he wants to get up and get on your lap and make sure he's the center of attention. He could see the entire room the whole time.
Yeah.
and he wants to be pet, which is adorable. He's a good guy, and my God, he's 20?
Yeah, the vet pegged him at 20, and they gave him a birth date of June 1, so he'll be 21 on June 1st. And so we were going to have a Spike's legal party. We thought a good reason to have a party. Spike's
Spike
birthday.
can drink in Delaware.
A drink in Delaware. Hopefully he can vote, too. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. Oh, yeah, that was about it. So, hey, what caught your eye this week?
What caught your eye? Here's what Tim and John found.
Well, as Tim teased at the start, you know, I'll just kick it off by saying this. I wasn't that engaged in the Winter Olympics. I don't know if anybody really was. People were paying attention at all, but I wasn't really that engaged. But this story did catch my eye. And the headline.
You know, before you even go there, you're exactly right. I think you and I both talked. We had no idea they had the closing ceremonies
on Sunday. Yeah,
Did you?
It's kind of sad because I love the Olympics in general,
Yeah.
but there was no athlete whose story Shaun White, his last Olympics, cool guy. There was some drama on the ice. We did have a great performance by a male figure skater. So there were moments, but overall I just felt it was kind of like in the background. And NBC had wall-to-wall coverage on all the different channels they have, but we were just not there.
A lot of curling.
That actually I did watch, and I found it to be oddly almost like a sleeping pill. You know, you're watching it, you're like, well, I could doze off to this thing. Because that thing
you and I can curl. It's bocce ball on ice. How tough is that?
Bocce on ice, yeah. So caught my eye is this, and it says here, this skier's penis almost froze mid-race at the Winter Olympics. So this skier, I believe, let's get up to that. I'm sorry, I was down there in my notes. He's a Finnish cross-country skier. And his biggest disappointment wasn't that he placed 28th in the race at the Olympics, but that he, in fact, had this problem come up. His name is Remy Lindholm. And after the race, he said that his penis almost froze. He's endured howling winds and freezing weather. Oh. The second time in his skiing career, according to Reuters. And he's jokingly said to the guys in the press pool, you can guess which body part was a little bit frozen when I finished. It's one of the worst competitions I've been in. It was just about getting through it and battling through. So frostbite injuries are not uncommon in cross-country skiing. Athletes often report having skin stripped from their fingers and toes. On the verge of amputation. Last year, Swedish athlete Cal shared a similar story to Lindholm's, saying that he endured agonizing pain as his genitals were frozen when competing. So the race ends. He gets to the end of it, and they have a name for this, by the way. Antarctic adventurer Alex Brazier. There's another one. Barzier. Alex Brazier also fell victim to the condition known colloquially as polar penis. So he gets to the end of this thing, the athlete, and he said that when the body parts started to warm up after the finish, the pain was completely unbearable. So it wasn't frostbite, and he did have something called underlayers and plasters to cover their faces and ears. Now, I was wondering, I didn't have time to look this up. Have you heard of that? Like, what is a plaster? Is it some kind of a hard thing that they put over to cover themselves?
I guess so. Maybe to keep the wind off. So that if it's windy, it's just, you're not going to...
They had that, but that was not enough to keep them from freezing, and they had shortened the entire course from 50 kilometers to 30 to protect those people from the frigid temperatures. Because I guess over in China, when they were doing the winter games, a cold front came through, and it was precisely at this time, and it would really drop the temperatures, and a lot of these guys were not expecting that. So there you go.
I wonder if anyone else's penis froze off or was frozen.
I didn't hear any reports of it, but now you and I and all our listeners know there's something called polar penis.
Polar penis, I like that. I'd get T-shirts made. I had polar penis once.
Did you
I
really?
was Brian forced me to run. It's when we first started rowing, and it was, I want to say it was about 0 out, and he insisted we run, and it started to snow, and I still remember I was so cold, I really was afraid that it was going to, freeze and fall off sort of thing. So we stopped under a bridge. I took my shoes off, and I stuffed my socks down
Oh my God!
my shorts to keep my unit warm, and I could have killed him. He still laughs about it. Remember that time? I was like, yeah, I remember that time. But
as I thought about the athlete and his frozen unit, it's a pretty. A lot of people take that part of the body quite seriously, including me. And I don't
wow,
think I'd
listen,
be. I'd be like, whoa, what's going on here, right?
it was so cold, felt like an ice cube. You got to be careful. What was out there. But he must. I certainly didn't have the right clothing on. But I was wondering if that happened to more people. But maybe it was just the finished garb.
All right.
Finish
So what
was
caught
almost
your
finished.
eye?
So John and I don't know what each other's going to pick, and so this is really odd because my story's about vaginas. So it's this headline popped up: the world's only vagina museum to make a triumphant return after being made homeless. So London's Vagina Museum has found a new home in the world's first museum dedicated to vaginas, vulvas, and the gynecological anatomy is about to get 3 times bigger. So 3 times more of the vagina is going to happen in a little town that originally opened in Camden 2019, but they were forced to close during the pandemic when the landlord wouldn't renew their lease. So they're moving now to Bethnal Green, outside of London, and the museum is in a place called a creative hub called Enter. It's unfortunate, which also houses a cafe, rehearsal rooms, performance space, and co-working spaces. So the Vagina Museum is in Enter, which is
Wait.
interesting.
The facility or the?
It's called Enter. Enter the Vagina Museum.
Bing bing.
So they had at the time they've had two they had 2 exhibits. Sorry, the Brits. Obviously, this was from a British rag. Muff Busters, vagina myths and how to fight them, and then periods, a brief history. So,
Topless head. No, headless body, topless bar. That's right up there.
when I saw they had an exhibit about periods, I thought of you, John. I know you like typography. I thought maybe you should make a trip across the pond, learn about periods. So they said that they decided they're going to talk about taboo subjects. They said over 80 million people menstruate daily, and over 50% of the world's population will do it at some time in their lives, yet there was no museum that was dedicated to this. And this person, as you know, back when we were on Sirius XM, there's actually a museum dedicated to the penis, which is in Iceland. I think Paul Hagen came on and talked to us about that.
That's true. That is true. Yeah.
And so this woman who started this museum, who they said she was a lesbian, not that means anything, but they seem to want to mention that in the story, that she decided to open this museum to give vagina put it on equal footing with the male anatomy. They said they're also going to provide learning resources, and they're going to host workshops, lectures, quizzes, and they've come out with a book called Cliterature. So,
where did you
anyway,
find
the
this?
museum, this is the Pink News over in London.
Okay.
Anyway, the Vagina Museum opens on March 19th, 2022. Get your tickets.
Folks, Caught My Eye is really a gem because we don't read the same things. We read a lot of the same things, but apparently you're like, well, but look at our news feeds. I got a polar penis, and you got a vagina museum.
I got a Vagina
Served
Museum
up.
open. Vagina Museum 3 times larger. That's what this headline was. So anyway, yeah, that was it. Hey, as many of you know, Deep Discount are friends of ours here on the Focus Group, and they've been with us for quite some time. We appreciate their support. Thank you all for those of you who shop them and sent us proof of shopping, and John has sent out lots of socks to those of you that did, and so we appreciate that. Right now, they have a sale going on called Page to Screen, and some great movie selections there. And Mr. Nash, why don't you let us know which one you picked this week?
Before I go into my pick, you just gave me an idea. March is Academy Awards month.
Right.
And I'm wondering if we should give some socks away to people who order in March from Deep Discount. What do you think?
We have them. We have them.
We have socks, and folks, it's the Focus Group socks. I could even go behind me and get a pair. Tim just gave me a fresh bag.
Purple. Well, or maybe it could be something from the Page to Screen sale, which I think is going on for a little bit, isn't it?
Page to Screen, or it could be a previous Academy Award winner. I mean,
Yeah.
so
It's a good idea.
we'll re-announce this, but maybe in March we'll do it. I think it's a good idea. So I picked my movie is a movie I had briefly heard of, and I would like to see it because I think a lot of people will relate to what I'm about to say, and that is that when we were all younger and before we had gay marriage and a lot of other things, having a gay movie come out, a good gay movie where the characters are gay, the story had a great storyline, was really quite an event. And I came across this on the Deep Discount site, and it's called Summer of '85. And the description is this: when Alexis capsizes off the coast of Normandy, David comes to the rescue and soon opens the younger boy's eyes to a new horizon of friendship, art, and sexual bliss. David's worldly demeanor and Jewish heritage deliver an ardent jolt to Alexis's traditional working class upbringing. After Alexis begins working at the seaside shop owned by David's mother, it sounds like it's kind of interwoven, the two lovers steal away every possible moment for a furtive kiss, a motorcycle ride, or a trip to the cinema. Their relationship is soon rocked by a host of challenges, including an unexpected sexual rival and a romantic oath that transcends life itself. So this was a film that came out, and I had heard of it briefly, but I definitely want to get it because I think it's really important to support some of this gay cinema.
You're not going to watch it.
I'm going to watch, yeah.
It's in French.
Oh, no. Is it subtitled?
Yeah, I'm not reading a movie. I told you that over the weekend. Bob and I agreed. I'm not reading movies anymore. I'm too old. I'll fall asleep. And
Well,
all you art movie people out there, put them in English.
I sometimes watch British or American shows with subtitles turned on just to hear what there's. It's like you told me to watch Grey Gardens one time. And that, by the way, Grey Gardens is available from Criterion on Deep Discount. We always recommend that.
Yeah.
So what'd you pick?
No, you're right. You do actually learn more if you do. But sometimes I'm not in the mood to read, but I will. I have seen some good movies certainly that were subtitled, but I laughed about it. Me grumpy. I gotta. So the movie I picked, it's one that I've talked about many, many times, but what was pretty cool about this sale that's going on is that it comes in a double pack. So fried green tomatoes and Coal Miner's Daughter come in, and it's the price is $10.80 for both movies total, a 2-disc set, of course, from the folks at Universal. And so fried green tomatoes has Mary Stuart Masterson, who I love, Kathy Bates, Tommy Lee, Mary Louise Parker, Sissy Spacek, and I believe not Sissy Spacek. She's in Coal Miners, isn't she?
Yeah.
And Jessica Tandy in Fried Green Tomatoes, and so Coal Miner's Daughter, which was about Loretta Lynn, and kind of her autobiography. It says it was the first time that a picture around a country star or something was ever made Academy Award nominations. It was nominated for 7 Academy Awards, which I was surprised about, including Best Picture. And it was based on the best-selling autobiography of Coal Miner's Daughter, the amazing true story of legendary country star Loretta Lynn. So, starring Sissy Spacek. So
and Fried Green Tomatoes has always been one of your absolute. I don't know what age you were at or how you felt that day, but there's something about that movie that resonated with you.
Yeah, no, you're right. It's like you have your favorite was Being There, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, originally, so for I was trying to look at the exact dates, but I believe the movies had come out. I think Coal Miner's Daughter would have been 1980. I think that's the date it says. Yeah, it says original year 1980.
Wow.
And Fried Green Tomatoes, I think, was 1991.
I think you're right. Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
I think you're right.
So, but anyway, you get them both at deep discount.
And the new release this week is a movie I definitely want to see. A lot of controversy around it. Did you like it? Did you hate it? Lady Gaga, of course, is in it, and she stars. And that movie would be Gucci, or The House of Gucci, on Blu-ray in March 1995, after fashion house scion Maurizio Gucci, played by Adam Driver, also known as Kylo Ren for Star Wars fans, was gunned down outside his Milan office by an unknown assailant. It didn't take long for the eye of suspicion to fall on his famously embittered ex-wife, Patrizia Reggiani. Lady Gaga plays that role. The tale of their turbulent union and the aftermath of the crime set against the high style. Do you like my Italian?
Do that again. Patrizia Reggiani.
Patrizia Reggiani.
Lady Gaga.
Maurizio Gucci. Yeah, so it takes a tale of their turbulent union and the aftermath of the crime, set against the high-style backdrop of the family operations, receives a glossy telling in Ridley Scott's true crime opus. Jared Leto stars Jeremy Irons, Al Pacino, Salma Hayek, and we mentioned Lady Gaga and Adam Driver, so a very good film to pick up on Blu-ray if you didn't catch it in the theaters. And then we could see a Lady Gaga performance. A lot of people claim she was great, so I want to see this. So, recap, folks. Let's go back to here. It's the page-to-screen sale at deep discount. And by the way, you get to deep discount by going to our site, focusgroupradio.com, and clicking on the deep discount logo to start your shopping. Be sure to tune in our March shows because I think we're going to be giving socks away if you order discs during the March month because it's Hollywood. It's Hollywood Party, Oscars. I picked a movie called Summer of '85, a young gay romance, which I haven't seen. Tim is poo-pooing it because it has subtitles, but I will watch.
Well, I love the idea of it. I just don't know are you going to read it.
I don't read my movies. That's Tim. Tim picked a great double feature, Fried Green Tomatoes and Coal Miner's Daughter on one disc for about $10, $10.80, I think it is. Yep. And then the release this week is House of Gucci on Blu-ray. So go over to Deep Discount, get your shopping started, and I think you'll be thrilled. So we're going to take a little quick break, sorry. And when we're back, we have a business birthday, and we have a recap of the visit to Rehoboth in Delaware, where we did learn many things about the state of Delaware. So it was an educational trip, too. So stay with us. We'll be right back.
You're listening to The Focus Group with Tim and John. Learn more at focusgroupradio.com. Now back to The Focus Group with Tim and John. Available pretty much everywhere.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Focus Group. Tim Bennett here with John Nash. Be sure to follow along with us each week on our social media. It's all under focusgroupradio.com. And, of course, don't forget our podcast, which is TFG Unbuttoned, which is on Tuesday mornings. It's released. John, did you know that I didn't realize TFG is now something Biden's using to describe the last president?
The former guy.
So all of a sudden, yes. I do the hashtags TFG, and our stuff's all mixed in with the crazy. So maybe that'll help. Boost our numbers.
I agree. I think anything to boost, I'll take. Right?
Yeah, boost the numbers. So yeah, I laughed when I saw that. I'm like, what is TFG besides the focus group?
It's like there is another focus group podcast you found.
Oh yeah, shut it down. I think she stopped. I actually tried to look for it the other day, and I think they came up with another name, maybe.
Really?
Yeah, I couldn't find it.
Okay, because I remember we found it on iTunes, and it was published by like a media company. Like they couldn't do the R&D and find out that the show name was taken. But
well, that's what I said. I said, "Oh, you're just like the focus group that's been on for 14 years."
Hey, by the way, I just want to let Tim sits in front of this lush, kind of British. What do I want to say? It's like a polo Ralph Lauren thing. There's that painting with the gold frame. He's got portraits back there. I hadn't seen that room in Tim's house since before the event, and it's a great color. What's that color? It's like a
peppercorn.
Peppercorn. Okay.
Which we got way before everyone else did.
Oh, it's
everybody's
very cool.
using it.
And I meant to tell you that the chair that's kind of off to your right, the little armchair, that's a really cool chair. That's like a Danish modern or something. No one sees it, but I was
Came
sitting
from
in it.
Pottery Barn. I think it's uncomfortable, but you're smaller than me.
And I have to also say, we set up Tim's new laptop, and Tim was extremely patient. I think we did a pretty good job. Some weird stuff, and people that listen are going to figure this out in a second. Like, we're trying to copy files, like just copy things from his hard drive to like a portable drive. And it would come up with these little errors, like this file has tiny things, like stupid files. And Tim finally says to me, he says, "Don't you think they give you an option for just saying skip the file?" And amazingly, because Tim was on, this is a laptop that was a couple systems ago. I thought, right? Like, doesn't that make sense? No, you had to find the file.
Right. Which, yeah, so I don't have my music still, which is on my list for sometime later this week to call Apple Care. Is that what they're called?
Yeah, Apple Care. And, Tim has a large and cool music library, and it's like 90 gigs. And we started copying it, and these little errors would come up, but the song would play fine. So, even as good as I am with this stuff, I was stymied. I'm like, what the hell? And then Tim came up with a very clever idea. He said, wait a minute, don't we have support?
Well, as you said, and you looked and you said, you can't be the only one with this issue.
Yeah, I agree.
But who knows? We'll find out. I'm sure there'll be some sort of glitch. But I found something so last night, John, I started looking, and I found somebody that said, solve the mystery of the corruption files from iTunes from one to the other. And I laughed. I should send it to you. I did a screen grab. There might have been 200 or more steps you had to take in order to... And it went on for pages. Highlight this, move that, take this, do that, save this, log out, log in, log out, log in. I was like, oh my... I just started laughing and thought, no. Yeah, I found a way. I got around.
Yeah,
okay.
and I should say too that Tim's Googling and trouble searching parameters are just like mine. Like he would plug in. He'd think about the parameter, like what do I want to do, plug it in, and then he'd look at 2 or 3 down and say that's the right one. 200 steps.
Oh my God, I pissed my pants. I was like, are you kidding me? I mean, there were so many things I thought there's no way anybody could possibly follow it, and people just question marks in the comment section. Like, are you kidding me? But maybe it was a joke, but it
a bad one.
You send somebody because TikTok does that, right? They that's the whole thing about how many. Have you noticed that they're doing it now on Facebook and they're doing it on TikTok? So TikTok not so much because I think the screen time's limited, but on Facebook, in order to get the numbers up, I guess, or the viewing up, they'll do some long, elaborate thing that actually means nothing, but you're on it for 10 minutes.
Oh,
they're going to make something. They're going to make something. Yeah, they're going to make something, and they're doing this and they're doing that, and you can't fast forward it. You're stuck on it. So and then everybody gets mad. I wasted my time. I'm not going to get that time back.
Boy,
it's equivalent of the Click Factory.
Yeah,
it's equivalent of the Click Factory over in India for us to get numbers up. Ruben. Anyway, so
zing.
It's time for the business birthday.
Everyone does celebrity birthday greetings, but the Focus Group is the only show in the universe that celebrates business birthdays.
So this birthday I kind of thought was pretty cool. Damon Garfield John. And Damon from Shark Tank, which is one of our favorite shows.
And he's one of your favorites,
sharks,
right?
Yeah, I like him because he's, it may just be, I looked at this. I also like Barbara Corcoran, is that how you say it? And I like the other woman, I always forget her name, the blonde from QVC. They're all nice. The one I don't like is Mr. Wonderful. I think he's kind of nasty to people.
Who we talked about last week, O'Leary,
yeah.
Right?
O'Leary, you're right. The other ones I all think are pretty affable and pretty nice, and I like Damon because he's realistic. I think if you and I were on the show, he'd buy from us. I'm a little mad because one of his favorite purchases on I'll get to, and then you'll know why we're kind of mad. But anyways, born today, February 23rd. He's 53 years old. American businessman, investor, television personality, author, and motivational speaker. So most people know him as the founder of FUBU. And I didn't know what FUBU meant. I thought it was one of those acronyms that they used for, using the F word or something. But it's, like in the military. But it's not. It's for us, by us, is what FUBU meant. And so he started this business, FUBU business, in his mother's house in Queens. He had the idea because he was a fan of hip hop in the 90s and wanted to buy some of the clothing that he saw some of the performers wear and so forth, but the clothes were outrageous. And there were these hats that people were wearing. I don't necessarily remember them, but a lot of people were wearing ski hats, and they would tie them off the top with fishing line. And they were selling them for like $20 or something. He thought they were really overpriced. So he got a couple friends together, and his mother taught him how to sew these ski hats. They got some wool, sewed these ski hats, and sold them for $10 each. And in one night, or a single day, they went out into the Jamaica Avenue area in Queens, sold them for $800, and he thought, wow, that was pretty cool. He was able to sell this very similar sort of merchandise at a more affordable price. So after the hats, he began selling printed screen T-shirts, and then he would go on consignment with some stores and trying to get them to take his clothing, but he struggled a little bit. So in order to make, I laughed at this, one of my dad's favorite fast food restaurants, I guess if you call it fast food, to make ends meet, he worked at Red Lobster.
Your dad calls that fast food?
No, well, yeah, my dad loves, I'll get him a Red Lobster card. He loves it. Yeah, it's too funny. So so in between him trying to work on FUBU, he made ends meet at Red Lobster. His mom thought he had talent, and she ended up mortgaging their house for $100,000 to get him money to start this business. So he brought in a couple of friends, a guy named J. Alexander Martin and Keith Purin, and they just began sewing the FUBU logo on hockey jerseys and sweatshirts and T-shirts. And then he would loan them out to different rappers to use in their music videos in the hope that they would wear them. And over the course of a couple of years, people did. So he had product placement in like 30 different videos. And so there was a perception that his company was a lot larger than it was. Him at the kitchen table making these shirts. So he convinced LL Cool J, this was his breakthrough, to wear one of his FUBU T-shirts on a promotional campaign. And later, while LLJ was filming a commercial for Gap, he wore one of the FUBU hats he had in a commercial and also incorporated the line "For Us, By Us" in a rap. And lo and behold, he received $300,000 in orders from Macy's.
Wow.
And also they were doing something out in Las Vegas at a fashion trade show. And so his mother, they didn't have the money to buy all of the material and whatever for this $300,000 order, so she took out a second mortgage on the house to fulfill the orders because they were turned down by 27 banks. Nobody would give them a loan. So his mom ended up...
There's a whole story there, by the way.
Yeah,
right?
well,
Yeah.
Of course. We all know what was going on there, right?
Uh-huh.
So after... so his mom, she was 100%, 110% behind him. So after they were turned down, his mom used the very last little bit of money they had left, and she put an ad in the New York Times. And somebody from Samsung Textiles saw it, and right now, FUBU is worth about $6 billion.
Oh my God. I want to ask you a question about that interesting strategy he had where he would take hockey or like pro jerseys.
Yep.
Were they just like they weren't team branded, or they were just like a plain old jersey, or did it say like the Los Angeles Rams or like
Yeah, I think he took actual NHL teams and other sports teams and put his FUBU logo on them.
Okay.
I'm sure illegal, but he sewed patches on them and he started out that way until he was able to get his own stuff done and make his own his own designs. But it was a way for him to get his name out there, because if they were going to wear, if you remember, a lot of these rap artists would wear their favorite either basketball team or hockey team, football team, whatever. They would wear these jerseys. And so by him getting his FUBU logo on there, at least he got some exposure. And so, I love his tenacity of that and the fact his mom was so supportive of him. And so I don't, his success is genuine. I mean, he worked hard at it and he got it. He got called from Mark Burnett to come on Shark Tank that we talked about earlier, and they asked him in an interview what were his favorite investments. And one of them was, and the ones that made the most money for him, one of them was Bubba Baker's boneless ribs. He did in 2015. And the other one, so when he partnered with them, they had $154,000 in sales. And in 3 years, when Damon came on, they were up to $16 million in sales a year. And then he also did Bombas socks. And I always laugh because you and I have been doing socks for 20 years. And we do them on the show. We did them when we were at Subaru. And I don't know why we never sold them. I mean, essentially, Bombas has done what we did, right? Give
Well,
the socks. And they give a pair to the homeless.
Yeah, the Bombas is for every one you buy, they give one to a shelter or to someone who needs them. He was an early investor in that?
Yeah, they came on Shark Tank.
Wow.
And now those new Bombas slippers they have now, my grandmother used to make those at the church sale in Nova Scotia. I was screaming. I was telling my mother. We were laughing. For the kids, I said, Bombas, I said, they took another idea of mine. Why we didn't do these slippers? Anyway, when these people came on, when Bombas came on to Shark Tank, their sales were 450,000 for 9 months, and the 12 months following was $12 million.
12 million.
And now they're,
Wow.
now it's, crazy, crazy, crazy. He also invested in something called Sun Stashes. I guess they were little mustaches. And they've done over 4 million, close to 5 million in sales. And it goes through all the other things he's invested in. He's invested about $10 million into different people that have come on. He had thyroid cancer in 2017. He underwent surgery for that, and they said he's now cancer-free. But he started scholarships for kids, for entrepreneurs. He has a consulting group called the Shark Group, where he does management consulting and also consulting for for entrepreneurs that want to start businesses. Done things for women, involved with a number of universities, and also done some stuff with Maria Shriver's women's conference, as I said. So good for him.
Good birthday. And I just love the fact that it started at a kitchen table and with the help of his mom, right?
And that you could still do that.
Yeah.
This was 1993, 1994. So the fact that, it wasn't something, a lot of times when we do these birthdays, it's somebody who invented the candy bar in 1828. It's like, well, how tough was that, right? But he actually developed a clothing brand, which everybody would tell you you're crazy to do. And, with all the huge, huge companies out there, apparel companies. So happy birthday, Damon Garfield John, 53 today. Born February 23rd, 1969.
Excellent birthday.
Yeah, so there you go. So as we spoke earlier, John, and the whole reason for John to come to Delaware, the trip to Delaware, was he wanted to get out of New York for a little while. He and Bob wanted to travel. And you don't really need masks down here in Delaware unless you go to City Hall. And and I had this new computer I bought, and John said to me John and I both got computer upgrades, and John started his first, and then he said to me, before you take it out of the box, there's a number of things that have changed, because my computer was 7 years old, I guess.
Tim
and it used to be yours.
Yeah. It was a 2016, which it was early 2016 MacBook Pro 13-inch. Tim was running Sierra, which is an older OS, not bad, it's just older. But anybody who's a Mac person who's running any of the new equipment, or Monterey, the new operating system, knows that when I said to Tim, we better give this, because I spent days figuring out, and I know this stuff really well. I had a plan coming down. I was stymied a bit by these corrupt file problems that kept popping up, but we managed to get everything into the new computer except the music, which is the biggest folder. But it was a great trip. Easy drive down. We tried to do this a few weeks ago. Then Tim had 14 inches of snow, which was a once in a century event down there or something like that.
Yeah, well, or once in every 10 years at least. They at least I found out the city now has a couple trucks with pickup trucks with some snow plows on them. But generally, if it snows here, it's
wait.
like DC. It gets crippled, and then you wait a day.
You wait. And the sun comes out, and that's the plow. The sun's the plow, right? So we had a great time. Tim had a cocktail party. Tim and Richard had a party on Saturday night, the day we got there, and we got to meet some of our fans. We met Patrick and Howard and Bunky and Kate. And Kate, I got to tell you, Kate makes ice cream. And Tim said several weeks ago that we should have a side business making unique flavors, because she made you orange ice cream, not sherbet, orange-flavored ice cream.
Right, because she listens to the show, and you and I have talked when I was younger, and I used to go to Canada to see my grandparents and relatives. They would have, in Canada, they had orange ice cream. So it wasn't sherbet, it was actually ice cream. And they'd have lemon and maple walnut. And you threw out the comment, I would love key lime.
Oh, boy.
And so Kate listens to the show, Kate and Bunky. And so next thing I know, knock on my door, she brought orange ice cream, which I kind of liked, but I thought it was missing something. So she went right back and made another batch, which I could kill her. I told her, I feel like I've eaten all this ice cream. I'm put on 20 pounds. And she made a cake. I had that. Then I was at that thing all week. Then she made this. She goes, well, let me give you my favorite ice cream. She made pistachio, and then she made a raspberry ripple, and then key lime. And she wanted you to put it on graham crackers. So we had a little.
So Tim pulled out a box of Honey Maid, and she gave Tim a special container. It had to be, because it's that cool, heavier plastic that she put the ice cream in. He made me a key lime ice cream sandwich, key lime flavored ice cream sandwich. Kate, I'm telling you right now, if Tim says we got a business, we'll do a push cart up and down the Broadway. We'll move the ice cream.
Well, you know what I thought? Instead of scooping
It's
ice cream,
delicious.
I know we talked about ice cream, but I thought instead of scooping it, why don't we do ice cream sandwiches?
Like a chipwich.
Yeah. But you could do, because ice cream sandwiches are usually a chocolate cookie, isn't it, with some sort of ice cream on it. So I would do dark chocolate cookie with the orange ice cream because I like orange and black together.
Graham cracker for the
Graham cracker
key
for the key lime, and I think we should do maybe a line of boutique luxury ice cream sandwiches. Of course, I ran that idea by her. She says, "I'm not involved at all. I'll give you the recipes. I'm not selling ice cream." I said, "Oh, we can go to the boardwalk with a little cooler. We could." Nope.
upscale ice cream sandwiches available at the Sandcastle, the only 3-star hotel in Rehoboth Beach.
Well, yes, well, then Patrick and Howard stopped by, too. They were at a conference, and they stopped by. And they were fans of the show from back in the day when we were on Sirius XM. They used to listen to us, they said, on their way to driving back and forth from their house to the beach. So when they knew you were coming, they wanted to stop by as well. And, of course, you regaled them with lots of tales. So.
Yes, some that remind even NSFW, those stories about my mom, for instance. Oh, hey, honey, let me tell you something. Anyway, it was a great time. And the next night we were hosted at our friends Mark and Carl's for a fantastic, delicious dinner. Lots of fun there, too. But it was at that dinner that our next story it was revealed. And this is something about states. Okay, so, you go to the DMV, you get a license plate. What costs, $10, whatever it is. Not so in Delaware. Or you could go get a regular plate, right? But there's something called, is it a black tag?
It's a black plate. So
Black plate.
if anybody who's seen Delaware tags, so the original Delaware license plate is kind of a navy blue or it's dark blue with gold letters, and it's a flat plate. It's I don't know how you would know the proper term, but there's not raised letters on it. It's just
It's
a
not
flat.
embossed or debossed.
Yeah, it's not embossed. But there's these plates, and if you're watching us here on the video, there's black plates, which are porcelain plates, and there was only, I believe they were made in the early 50s or late 40s, and very, very few of them were made. And you can transfer plates down to other people or pass them down or sell them. So it's not like you just take your plate and throw it away. But we were all talking at dinner because Mark and Carl have 2 5-digit plates. And when I went to get a Delaware tag for my car, they said ask them for a 5-digit, a low numbered black license plate.
That was,
the
it
woman,
was a low number
Right.
black plate. Yeah.
The woman at the DMV was screaming behind the glass and I got somebody over here looking for a low 5-digit plate. They're all laughing. So, these license plates will sell if you're a single digit, they're $500,000 or more. So if you had plate number 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, if you have 2 digits, they're in the hundreds of thousands as well. And then they go up into the high hundreds or whatever. So a 5-digit plate could be somewhere from 900 to 2,000 or 3,000. I did hear recently that there was just a plate sold for over $1 million for a low number that somebody wanted. It would be like a 22 or something, like a number that somebody would want. And John, your mouth was aghast. You just couldn't believe that this was going on. But it's a big industry, and you've got to watch out for fakes.
Yeah.
And what also happens is people have you see a low digit tag, they're either a Delaware family forever, they've got a lot of money, or they're connected, or there's some sort of prestige with it. But they said a lot of these plates, people go hunting for them. Somebody might have a car that they haven't used in 50 years and it's sitting in a barn and it's got, number 42 on it and the license plate. And, there people like American pickers, they go try to find these, people try to find these plates out into the hinterland of Delaware to get a low number plate. It's prestige.
So just to clarify for folks, in the state of Delaware, this type of plate that Tim's talking about, the governor has plate number 1. It literally says there's a 1 on it, a single digit.
Yep.
The lieutenant governor has the number 2 plate, and the Secretary of State has number 3. Everything above number 3, 4, 5, 6, etc., all the way up, from there to infinity, are all there, available, and can be traded. So this I'm listening to these guys. Tim's first telling this hysterical story about how Mark had him go in to ask for a low number plate. The whole DMV starts laughing their ass off because Tim's like the last person in on the joke that, hey, if you want a low number plate, you better put a big wad of cash on the counter. So that was A. But B, when Bob and I were driving up to the city on Monday, on President's Day, we're like, Bob goes, that whole license plate thing. I said, oh, my God. We were howling with laughter in the car. He said, would there be any New Yorker who would ever put up with that? And I said, Bob, yes, if they knew the cachet. I mean, that's the thing about this Delaware thing is this is old. So it goes back to, as Tim said, to the 50s. Since there is this cachet and they're valuable, we were like, oh, it's hysterical.
It would be like if, New York, when we were growing up, had the orange plate with the blue letters, which you've gone back to now, but it's a different design. Yeah. So it'd be as if the plate never changed. And there was only a limited number of those orange plates that got passed around. And yes, I am sure any state, people would then say, I want an orange plate. Because then New York became, you guys were like a blue and white color for a while with the Statue of Liberty. And I would have made a rule, if I was president of the United States, all plates had to stay the same. When we were growing up and we did the license plate thing on the card, it was very easy. Massachusetts was white with red. Connecticut was blue with white. Vermont was green. New York was orange. Pennsylvania was blue and,
yellow, blue,
the only one who
white,
stayed,
right?
I think, is Jersey. Beige and black, right?
They always offered that classic plate. They do have other ones for Cape May. There's a lighthouse on one and all this other stuff. But yes, they've always offered the classic standard plate.
Right.
That's what they call it, standard.
Right. Yeah, and Rhode Island was light blue.
That was an incredible. We had a delicious dinner one night at Eden on the main drag there.
Yes, that was a good dinner. That was a fun night.
It was a very good dinner. And Mark and Carl's dinner was restaurant quality. I mean, we had delicious fillets, and it was a great trip.
Well, I'm glad you came down. It was a lot of fun, and you got to see it. Now, the only people you didn't get to see were Joyce and Pat, but you'll have to do that when you come down for the your next trip in the summer when it's a bit warmer.
Well, Mark
we'll do something outside.
Yeah, Mark teased a party. Mark and Carl teased a Queen's Jubilee party. Fascinator hats are required. You better believe that stuck in Bob's head. He's all the way up. He's like, I got to find a fascinator.
Well, you can find them online. They have the Brits.
Oh boy, fascinator. I want one that has like a little rocket ship on it or something.
You can do that. You get whatever
or
you want.
Saturn and its rings. I think
go to Amazon.
Seriously?
Find them. Yes, they have. Just type in fascinators. It's hilarious what they have. And you guys turned me on to a show. I think it's on Netflix called The Windsors.
Yes, it's a comedy.
Oh my gosh, how they portrayed Sarah Ferguson! I never laughed so hard.
So you've been watching it?
I clicked through and I was going through different scenes they were doing. I found something online, the best scenes of the Windsors or something. And when my mouth, I wonder what I guess they must like it. The British must think it's hilarious.
It's total satire. The relationship between the actors and the real world people are not non-existent. But Bob's favorite episode is the Windsor's Christmas special.
Oh, I've got to watch that.
I don't know if it's season 1 or 2, but he sometimes just watches
Christmas
it. He'll make
special.
himself a Manhattan. He'll sit there and I'll hear him howling with laughter while I'm working in my office. And he's watching the Windsor special for it's like you and me watching or all of us watching Grey Gardens again. I fed the cats.
Well, they had Sarah Ferguson in some rundown apartment with a bottle of booze, closed it too tight. Oh, hi, Princess Eugenia.
Beatrice and Eugenia always have hats on. The Fascinators.
Oh my God, I was screaming.
Yeah.
And so I thought and then Prince Charles looked, Camilla was like, you got a cigarette? Or some fags. You got any fags?
Well, in that comedy series, she's always vying. She wants to get him to be king immediately so that she could have power. And the guy that plays Prince Charles is a famous British comedian. And, it's just over the top. So The Windsors on Netflix. It's a BBC series. I think it came out a few years ago, but it's trickled over to our shores.
I'm going to go watch the Christmas special tonight.
Find the Christmas special. You will. I think there were 2 of them, but I think it's the second seasons, or I think there was maybe I'll email you the link later on. It's over the top. Yeah. Well, thanks for a wonderful visit to Rehoboth Beach, Delaware. We now know that you can buy if you happen upon a Delaware license plate that is black and has a single digit on it in a barn in a car, contact us.
I'll give you $100.
Letters at focusgroupradio.com. We'll help you broker that plate into multi-mega dollars. So thanks to everybody for tuning in today and for giving us your time on the show. Big thanks to Deep Discount, our partner here on the Focus Group. It's the Page to Screen sale. I picked The Summer of '85. It's a gay romance that I have not seen that I'd like to see it. Tim picked a double feature you can get on DVD, and it's The Fried Green Tomatoes and Coal Miner's Daughter. And the release this week is The House of Gucci. I'm not going to butcher the Italian names like I did earlier. So with that, we're going to put up the graphic that says, "Don't text and drive, arrive alive." And we want to wish you all a great week, and we're going to see you in the new one. Thanks again for joining us.
It's The Focus Group with Tim Bennett and John Nash. Accessible on all platforms. Subscribe, like, and rate us on your platform of choice. Learn more at focusgroupradio.com.
That was a stunning focus group.